Welcome to Policy on Demand's Week in Review. I'm Rohit Kumar. So my key takeaway from this week was the upping the ante on the advocacy around Section 899, both the opponents of the House language really weighing in strongly with all of their critiques and criticisms, but also the proponents of it starting to respond to that critique. We saw that from some in the business community. We saw Secretary Bessent speak strongly in favor of the proposal, dubbing it not a revenge tax, but more of deterrence. This is designed to change the behavior of other countries rather than to collect a ton of additional revenue, despite the fact that the Joint Tax Committee is giving it credit for raising a fair bit of money over the 10-year period. But the point is not to collect the money, that the point is to change behavior. And so that really felt like it hit its stride this week in terms of advocacy, both pro and con. I'd say the question I got asked the most really related to timing. And that was when are we going to see legislative language? When is the Senate going to go to the floor? When is this going to pass? All of that sort of stuff. And look, on timing, I think we might see Chairman Crapo run a very similar play to what Chairman Smith did in terms of releasing a skinny mark, perhaps even later today or over the weekend, with sort of the good news, the easier stuff, the stuff that everybody knows is going to be in the bill, like extending the expiring tax relief for individuals and things like that. And then maybe not releasing the harder stuff, changes to the Inflation Reduction Act, changes to the SALT cap, the treatment of pass-throughs inside the SALT cap, and even modifications to Section 899. I think those we might not see until early next week, which has been sort of the long telegraphed window for seeing statutory language. So that's sort of where I think we're landing on language. And that actually speaks to what should we focus on next week. I mean, if we are correct in our assessment about good news early, harder news later, next week will be all eyes on the Senate, the rest of the tax title to the extent that we get parts of it beforehand, and then how people are reacting to that, because there will be another week between release of text, let's say it's Monday or Tuesday of next week, and going to the Senate floor, which we increasingly believe won't be until the last week of June, bumping up against the July 4th recess. So I would say, look, stay tuned. Buckle your seatbelt. Next week could be a little bumpy, and I expect a lot of news to be made. So pay attention.